to this subject. It is one of the most beautiful places in the entire Quran. It is special for many, many, many reasons. I'll mention only one of them right now, and we'll come back to that reason at the end of our talk again. We all know that the Quran was given to the Prophet ﷺ in the land of Hijaz, and it was revealed over the course of 23 years. And the way that Allah delivered the Quran to the Prophet ﷺ is through the angel Gabriel, through Jibreel ﷺ. The only exception, the only part of the Quran that was not given to the Prophet ﷺ through Jibreel ﷺ, but rather through authentic narrations we learn, the Prophet ﷺ traveled up the seven heavens, and right under it, عند سدرة المنتهى, as is described in Surah Al-Najm, when he traveled all the way up there, it is there that he received the last two ayat of Surah Al-Baqarah. In other words, all of the Quran was sent down to the earth. The two ayat that we are going to talk about tonight, the messenger went to the sky to get them. They were not given on the earth. They had to be received by the messenger himself under the throne of Allah Azza wa Jal. So they have a special place in the Quran. Not only do they have a special place in the Quran, these ayat actually have a special place in Surah Al-Baqarah. And so in the beginning of my talk, Quran's not organized. Anyway, what I want to talk to you about tonight is the last ayat of Baqarah that were given when? I forgot. Where were they given to Prophet ﷺ? Up in the heavens. They didn't come down, he went up. And these ayat were given at a place so crazy. Jibreel alayhi salam, he has a very high station. عند ذي العرش مكين. He's a very high place. And he delivers the Prophet ﷺ all the way up. But there is some security clearance even he does not have. He does not have that much security clearance. Only Rasulullah can go sallallahu alayhi wasallam. If Jibreel alayhi salam tries to go, his wings will burn off. So the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam goes by himself. These are ayat. Not only did Jibreel alayhi salam not give it to them, Jibreel alayhi salam could not give it to him. He could not do it. They had to come from Allah. آمن الرسول بما أنزل إليه من ربه والمؤمنون. The messenger alayhi salatu wasalam believed in what was sent down to him from his Rabb, and so did the believers. I want you to imagine this situation. Allah is telling this ayah to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam directly. Okay, bila hijab. He's telling him directly. And the thing he tells him is that the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. See, if you're talking to someone, if I talk to you, if you're, for example, a professor, I say, you are sitting here. I don't say the professor is sitting here. Because if I'm talking to you, I use the second person. I don't use the third person. But Allah is talking to the Messenger alayhi salatu wasalam. What does he say? آمن الرسول. لا, لم يقل آمنت يخاطبه مباشرة. أليس كذلك? He's talking to him directly. He didn't say you believed. He said the Messenger believed. Sallallahu alayhi wasallam. وَهَذَا تَكْرِيمًا لِلنَّبِيِّ عَلَيْهِ الصَّلَاةُ وَالسَّلَامُ. Even in his presence, he speaks of him in the third person to honor him, alayhi salatu wasalam. The messenger is not just any messenger. The messenger believed. And Allah is letting him know that when Jibreel first came, alayhi salam, when Jibreel first came, even the messenger had to accept Islam. Like, when you say somebody converted to Islam, somebody reverted to Islam, somebody took Shahada. Well, the Messenger ﷺ also had to, in a sense, become Muslim when the angel came. And that moment was a big moment. When the angel came, he has no idea what's going on. He has no clue what this is yet. When he's being shaken and he's being told, Iqra, read, he has no idea what's going on. Ma ana biqari. This is an incredible scene. And when Rasulullah ﷺ goes up to meet with Allah, Allah reminds him of that scene. يتذكر حينما آمنت بما أنزل إليك. آمن الرسول بما أنزل إليه. The messenger believed in what was revealed to him. Alayhi salatu wasalam. You know what's remarkable about that? In the beginning of the surah, what are the first words? Alif Lam Mim, Dhalika. Serious on purpose. Just like he did in the beginning of the surah. وَالَّذِينَ يُؤْمِنُونَ بِمَا أُنزِلَ إِلَيْكَ وَمَا أُنزِلَ مِنْ لَمْ يَقُلْ أَنزَلْنَاهُ إِلَيْكَ أُنزِلَ إِلَيْكَ وَمَا أُنزِلَ مِنْ قَبْلِكَ. Again at the end of the surah, it's a mystery. What was sent down? Now what was sent down is the first time he heard it, he didn't even know what was happening. It's coming down, but I don't know what this is from. So Allah adds, مِنْ رَبِّهِ. Then he solves the mystery. Then it's the first unzila ilayhi, then min rabbihi, then from his master. There are easier ways to say this. نقول من قواعد اللغة خير الكلام ما قل ودل. آمن الرسول بما أنزل ربه إليه أقل أنزل إليه من ربه فحذف الفاعل ثم ذكر الفاعل. سبحان الله. First he doesn't mention who did it, then he mentions who did it. Look, you know, let me tell you in English. Easy. The cake was eaten by me. What's an easier way to say that, guys? I ate the cake. Why you gotta talk like Star Wars? You can just say, I ate the cake. You know, that book was published by, no, they published the book. See, easy. He made it a mystery because that's exactly the journey. When you first hear this kalam, you don't know what hit you. What is this? I don't know what this is. It's not from here, it's from somewhere else. And then eventually you discover it is from your Rabb. Just like that, the journey is captured in unzila ilayhi min rabbihi. Look at the journey of Umar radiallahu anhu. He hears the kalam hiding behind the khilaf al-Kaaba. He hears the kalam, hears the speech of Allah, and a first response, Ma a'jab hadha ash-shi'r. Ooh, this is nice poetry. Wa ma huwa biqawli sha'ir. It's not the word of a poet. So, where is it from then? Kahin? Wala biqawli kahin. And then finally he understands min rabbihi. Tanzilum min rabbil alamin. You know, it's sent down from the master, from the Rabb. I'll move along. So now, where is the messenger again? Where is this ayah coming from? No human being has ever been there. This is the only time. This is the closest humanity has ever been to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The next closest thing in the history of humanity was Musa alayhi salam, and he didn't get higher than a mountain. He was on top of a mountain and he spoke with Allah. Yeah? But, you know, when Allah Azza wa Jal says, you know, جِئْتَ عَلَىٰ قَدْرٍ يَا Musa, you came right on time. Exactly. And Rasul came, he had a much higher appointment. Subhanallah. Now, he is up there talking to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he says to him, آمَنَ الرَّسُولُ بِمَا أُنزِلَ إِلَيْهِ مِنْ رَبِّهِ وَالْمُؤْمِنُونَ. My goodness. And the believers did it too. He mentioned us there. I understand the Rasul is mentioned, alayhi salatu wasalam. But anybody who believes in that messenger and firms their iman in the messenger has also been mentioned in the company of Allah, in the highest of all revelation in the Quran. You and I, our iman, there is nothing more noble. You will not find dignity and respect anywhere higher. You know, you feel special if the principal of the school calls your name. Yeah? You feel special at the award ceremony when they invite the Ra'is, right? And he gives you an award, he calls your name and he gives you an award. You feel special if the president of a country, the king of a country, they call you and they have a personal meeting and they mention you. Hey, he talked about me? Yeah, he mentioned my name. The Messenger ﷺ is in the greatest throne there ever was. And you are being talked about. وَالْمُؤْمِنُونَ. These ayat are special. These ayat have elevated the believer like no other ayat. We are being mentioned in that company, subhanAllah. Every time you recite these ayat, you and I should remember the station that Allah has given us. No Muslim is insignificant to Allah. No Muslim is insignificant. I don't know your names. I don't know. Allah knows every one of your names. And every one of you that has real iman in their heart has been mentioned in the Arsh. Every one of you. In that one word, وَالْمُؤْمِنُونَ. Beginning with the Sahaba and until now. And then, so that's the first honor, right? But the second honor that I wanted to highlight is that Allah Azza wa Jal in the Quran describes the greatness of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And we know we will never be close to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He's always going to be here, we're always going to be down here. No matter if we were the best we could ever be, we could not come close to the dust on his feet. It's never going to happen. وَاعْلَمُوا أَنَّ فِيكُمْ رَسُولَ اللَّهِ. There's the higher status. But in this one ayah, He didn't just bring you close to Allah, He brought you close to Rasulullah too, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. كيف كل آمنا. What does the word kull include? It includes the messenger and it includes you. In the previous ayah, it was the Rasul believed and the believers believed. There were two words. Now in the next statement, kullun combines both of us together. Now we are inseparable. Kullun amana billahi. Every one of them, every single one believed. Now Allah put me and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the same word. He put us in the same word. Subhanallah. The closeness that Allah wants us to have to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is inside this one word. Kullun. Amana billahi wa malaikatihi wa kutubihi wa rusuli. Every one of them believed in Allah and His angels and His books and His messengers. Now why mention all of this? The Muslims are the last ummah that will walk this earth. We are the last ummah. All the books before us, the best of them has been recorded in the Quran. Are there things in the Quran that were from the wahi given to Dawood alayhi salam? Yeah. Are there things in the Quran from what was given to Ibrahim alayhi salam? Yeah. Are there things in the Quran from what was given to Musa alayhi salam? Yeah. Does the Torah have what the Quran has? No, only a little bit. Does the Injil have what the Quran has? No, only a little bit. We have the best of every one of the previous revelations. Actually believing in this one book is truly the definition of believing in all the previous books. And this is so important to understand. You know, we think that the Christians and the Jews, we, the Muslims, are actually, one of our jobs in the world is to restore the integrity and the beauty of all the messengers and all the previous books. And you can only do that when you share the Quran with the entire world. The Jews don't know who Moses is, I tell you. They don't know who Abraham is. The Christians don't actually know who Jesus is. We know who He is, and we have to tell them. People think when you give da'wah to Islam, you have to tell people who Muhammad is sallallahu alayhi wasallam. I argue they will not appreciate Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam because they don't even appreciate their own prophets yet. The Quran has come to restore the dignity of their prophets. I go to churches and I talk about Jesus. I go to churches and I talk about Moses. SubhanAllah. Talk about the honor given to the Muslims in these ayat. These ayat have a special place for a reason. وَقَالُوا سَمِعْنَا وَأَطَعْنَا غُفْرَانَكَ رَبَّنَا. By the way, when we say we don't make any distinction between prophets, I want to clarify an important confusion that Muslims have, that I've seen many times, that we need to let go of. In the Quran, does Allah talk about Yusuf alayhi salam? Yeah, He talks about Musa alayhi salam. So we learn lessons from the life of Yusuf and the life of Musa alayhi salam. Some people say, no, we don't learn too much from them because their sharia is mansukh. The law that was given to them, the wahi that was given to them, no longer applies. We believe in the sharia given to who? Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Ya ayyuhal insan. It is mentioned in the Quran, and when it's mentioned in the Quran, it is mentioned because these parts of their legacy are timeless. Allah does not mention something in the Quran because it does not apply. Allah mentions something in the Quran because it will always apply. Even if it's from Yusuf alayhi salam, even if it's from Adam alayhi salam, even if it's from Musa alayhi salam. What kind of an idiotic thing it is to say, well, no, this is not Shari'at Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Wait, it's in the Quran, it is the Shari'at of Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam. You mean the only time we listen to Quran is when it's talking about Rasulullah? This is what this ayah solves. لا نفرق بين أحد من رسله. Every messenger is valuable to us. Every messenger is valuable. By the way, these messengers are so valuable that they were even valuable to Rasulullah himself sallallahu alaihi wasallam. How does a Muslim say they're not valuable to us? We only care about Rasulullah. By the way, by extension, how many people got upset because of Charlie Hebdo? Show of hands. How many people got upset because of the cartoon incident? I was upset. I was really upset. How many people get upset because of The Simpsons? Because of Family Guy? Because Jesus is made fun of? Because Moses is made fun of? There's no protests in the Muslim world because Jesus was made fun of. There's no protest because Moses was made fun of. There's no protest because Adam was made fun of. They draw naked pictures of Adam and Eve. No Muslim gets offended. Oh, that's just Christians. What? These are our messengers. They're not their messengers. لا نفرق بين أحد من رسله. We are supposed to stand for all the messengers, all the same. What's the point of believing in this Quran if we don't do that? No, that's just a Christian thing. That's just they can do that. That's their prophets. Quran came and said, those are all your prophets. The Rasul ﷺ combines the best qualities of all the prophets in one. And when the Rasul ﷺ is going through difficult times, when Rasul ﷺ himself is having a difficult time, Allah gives him ayat about other prophets. Listen to me carefully. When the Prophet is stressed, ﷺ, what does Allah tell him about? Other prophets. So in his most difficult hour, Allah gives him the examples of Yusuf. Yeah? ما أنزلنا عليك القرآن لتشقى هل أتاك حديث موسى. You're having trouble? Think about Musa. How can the Rasul himself sallallahu alaihi wasallam find comfort in these prophets and we don't find comfort in these prophets? Finding comfort and finding guidance in these prophets is a sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That is what we have to do. Now we're being quoted. We don't make any distinction between prophets. قالوا سمعنا وأطعنا وقالوا سمعنا وأطعنا. These people, they said, we hear and we what? We obey. Allah is so proud of people who believe. And then He says, here's what belief means. These people hear and they what? Obey. Two. How many parts of this instruction? Two. The first part is hearing. The second part is obeying. The problem is we don't hear and we don't obey. If you want to hear, you have to go listen to what Allah is saying. You have to make time for the Quran. You have to make time for ma unzila ilayhi min rabbihi. You have to sit in the durus. You're sitting here right now. What are you doing? Sami'na. When this dars is done, what are you going to do? Ata'na. You understand? To this, what we're doing right now is fulfilling what Allah mentioned on Al-Arsh. Can you imagine? You just think you're sitting in a program in a nice auditorium. We're fulfilling an ayah of Allah. The angels are writing this down. Allah is proud of us. Allah Himself takes pride in us when we do these things. Don't underestimate the value of these things. People just think they're putting an event together. This organization's name is called Bayyina. It's called Falaq. It's called Say One Care. They're doing this. No. These are believers doing Allah's work and Allah recognizes it as that. These labels don't mean anything. What really means is what's actually happening when the word of Allah is being shared. I was raised in a Pakistani family. I think most of you that have been raised in an average Muslim family, until the time that you are teenagers or even 20 years old, you know very little about the Quran. Very, very little about the Quran. You memorize some surahs, you've heard some khutbahs here and there, but you never actually took the time to study or think about or ponder, reflect on the Quran. True or no? It's true. Which means we are an ummah ma sami'na. We didn't hear. Now if you don't hear, obviously you're not going to what? Obey. So if you want to fix the problem of the ummah, people keep saying Muslims have to obey, Muslims have to obey, Muslims have to obey. I say, no, ya rajul. Muslims have to what first? Listen. Let them listen first. When they listen, then if there is good in their heart, they will obey. We're not even giving them a chance to listen. That's what we have to do right now. That's what has to happen. وَقَالُوا سَمِعْنَا وَأَطَعْنَا. And the other reason, by the way, you could just say أَطَعْنَا. وَقَالُوا أَطَعْنَا يَا رَبِّ. أَطَعْنَا. Why سَمِعْنَا وَأَطَعْنَا? There's a reason. Without sama' they cannot be ta'ah. Okay? لَوْلَا سَمَعْ فَلَنْ يَكُونَ طَاعَةً فَلَنْ تَكُونَ طَاعَةً. You don't have sama', you're not going to have ta'ah. If we do not provide the opportunity to the entire ummah to understand the beauty of the word of Allah, to hear the kalam of Allah in a loving way, Rasul taught it in a loving way. Allah taught it in a merciful way. Ar-Rahman 'allama al-Qur'an. Not Al-Jabbar 'allama al-Qur'an. Ar-Rahman 'allama al-Qur'an. It has to be taught with rahmah. When you teach Qur'an with rahmah, then people will listen. And when they listen, naturally, what will come? Obedience. The problem is, we keep complaining about obedience and we don't give them a chance to listen. We don't give them a chance. Rasul ﷺ, did he expect people to come to him or did he go to the people? He went to the people. What do? We expect the people to come to us. مَا لِي هَؤُلَاء لَا يَأْتُونَ الْمَسَاجِدِ. They don't come to the masjid, these people. لَا يَحْضُرُونَ الْحَلَقَاتِ. مَا لَهُمْ. What's wrong with these people? They don't attend the halaqah, they don't attend the masjid. What's wrong with you, man? You have to follow the guidance of the messenger. You have to go to them. You have to go to them. Which means we have to learn to figure out, how do we reach them? How do we reach people? We have to reach them through television, through the internet, through friends. We have to reach them at restaurants. We have to reach them at the university. We have to reach them while they're playing sports. Share something with them. Not everything has to be formalized. Not everything has to be formalized. Actually, I reached you before you reached me. You know that, right? I reached you how? YouTube, podcasts. I got some way of getting to you. I messed you up somehow. And then I came here, and I came from a short distance. You came from a long distance from home. But I came here, but you had to come here, right? You came. You're ready. Why are you here? It's a nice evening. You could be doing so many other things. There must be some really nice shawarma places here. Why are you here? The fact that you came here is actually a kind of ita'ah. You took an act. You got in your car. You left home. You didn't watch a movie. You didn't listen to just sit here, someone listen to some songs or something. You came here. This is an act of obedience. But this happened because you did what first before? Listen first. Wait, you should ask for forgiveness not when you obey. You should ask for forgiveness when you disobey. Right? That's logical, isn't it? When you don't listen, you should ask for forgiveness. When you disobey, you should ask for forgiveness. Now Allah is saying, we hear, we obey, please forgive us. Why? Because, Ya Allah, for a long time we didn't hear. And for a long time we didn't obey. Please forgive us. We're ready now. I'm here now, Ya Allah, forgive me. You know what this ayah is giving you? This ayah is giving you the ultimate chance. If you haven't been listening and you haven't been obeying, the door is not closed. Allah opened that door in the arsh. Ghufranaka Rabbana. It's so beautiful. He's opened that door for you. There's never too late. Never too late. Don't let anybody tell you that you're going to Jahannam, that you're a munafiq, that you're worthless, that you're evil, that you don't have iman. We are so cruel to each other. Wallahi, I get so angry. I don't get angry at the political situations in the world. I get angry at the psychological torture Muslims do to each other. I get really angry about that. I met a woman. Now, I want to tell you about the word masir. There are two meanings. Ibn Faris argues that sara sara yasiru, combines two meanings. He says, fulanun ala sayr al-amr, yani fi muntaha al-amr. Sayr also means the end of something. Which is why some translations say, ilayka al-masir, to you alone is the final return. Yeah? That's masir. But sara also means asbaha. Sara musliman bima'na asbaha musliman. He became a Muslim, to transform. The combination of those meanings. To you, Allah, is the place where we will finally return, and heading to you, we will experience transformation. What Allah is telling us is when we are before Allah on Judgment Day, we will be a completely different creature. We will not be the same. You know, this is not al-nash'at al-ukhra. This is nash'at al-ukhra. This is something else. But as we are journeying to Allah, we are every single day experiencing some transformation. Every single day something is changing inside of us. That is what's supposed to happen. Your goal, listen to me carefully, your goal is not to memorize the Quran. Your goal is not to learn Arabic. Your goal is not to know all of Tajweed. Your goal is not to do this number of ibadah or that. Your goal is not to get ijazat in all the ulum. This is not your goal. Your goal is progress. Your goal is what? Progress. Does everybody make the same progress? Some people make slow progress, some people make fast progress. Allah does not care. All Allah cares is that you are making progress. I told this young fellow who couldn't recite Quran, you know, there are people who recite Quran beautifully, beautifully. You listen to them and you're like, oh my God, this is like the voice of an angel. It's amazing. But that guy is worthless to Allah because if he only recites Quran to impress people. Worthless. And you sitting in your living room taking 30 minutes to recite Fatiha and you can't recite the ha properly, you're desi, you say غَيْرِ الْمَغْضُوبِ عَلَيْهِمْ وَلَا الضَّالِّينَ. If you do that, but you're trying, your shaykh says غَيْرِ 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 الْمَغْضُوبِ 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 ضالين زوالين ضالين زوالين. And you know what? Nobody's impressed with your recitation, but he loves it. He loves it. But even though your recitation is totally pendu, it's horrible, to me it's bad. To Allah, He loves it. Why? Because you're trying. Because you are trying. That's all. That's all it is. We have made artificial goals. There are some people who study Quran. Ladies, I'm talking to you. You have a problem. Some of you study deen, you have obsessive compulsive disorder. Until I know all the words of the Quran, I don't know anything. Until I don't memorize this surah, I don't know anything. Oh my God, I have to finish Tafsir ibn Kathir, then I have to finish Ibn Ashur, then I have to finish. Relax, ladies. Calm down. You have to make progress. You do not, this deen of this book is so beautiful. But you have to balance your life. You just have to study deen a little bit. Then you have to live your life. Because the Quran wants you to stop reading Quran. You know that? The Quran doesn't want you to read the Quran all day. Allah يقول سبحانه وتعالى سيروا في الأرض أفلم ينظروا إلى الطير فوقهم فكيف ينظر إلى الطير في المكتبة. اذهب. Go outside, go look at a bird. العظيم لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها. Allah does not put any burden on anybody except that it is within their capacity. إلا وسعها. There's two meanings here, and the second meaning is complicated. I pray to Allah that He gives me the ability to simplify it for you because it's very powerful. You see, لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا بوسعها is different. Except within its capacity. But He says إلا وسعها بلا حرف بلا واصل. Just straight, إِلَّا وُسْعَهَا. There's a difference. The first meaning is Allah will never tell you to do something that you cannot do. That's easy meaning. Yeah? Allah will never tell you to do something that you cannot do. Some people say, MashaAllah, you pray 5 times? Wow, it's amazing. All 5? Every day? On time? MashaAllah. Make dua, Allah gives me tawfiq. I only have 10 minutes. No way. I have like an hour. Okay, I have 10 minutes. God. I don't know what to do in 10 minutes, but you know, لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها. You pray 5 times every day? Yeah. You know what? That's because you never say to someone, you stop at red lights? Everyone? Every day? Amazing. Make dua, Allah gives me tawfiq. You respect Allah, it's not a big deal. It's not too hard. Allah never gave you any regulation that's too hard, ever. وَمَا جَعَلَ عَلَيْكُمْ فِي الدِّينِ مِنْ حَرَجٍ. Allah wouldn't put any difficulty in the deen for you at all. That's Allah's promise. That's Allah's promise. Here's the second meaning. Oh, this is epic. Wusa is the extent to which you can do something. Okay? Wusa then means your full potential. Wusa means what? Your full potential. Is my potential the same as your potential? No. And your potential is not the same as my potential. Allah will not give you responsibility in your life to every single person except that they have in them the ability to handle their problems, their challenges. Allah wants to make you realize your full potential. قُلْ كُلٌّ يَعْمَلُ عَلَى شَاكِلَتِهِ. This is why Allah does not say here, لَا يُكَلِّفُ اللَّهُ النَّاسَ. No, لَا يُكَلِّفُ اللَّهُ النَّفْسَ. No, نَفْسًا. النَّكِرَةِ. Why? Every person is different. Every person has a different kind of potential. You have to identify your potential, and then Allah will ask you, why didn't you give me the best of your potential? I gave you so much intelligence, why didn't you use your brain? I gave you so much social skills, how come you didn't make more friends and make that a way to bring people to Islam? I gave you so much creativity, why didn't you become a film producer and teach people Islam through film? Why didn't you do it? You had so much potential. I gave you that potential. Allah gave us that. وَأَنْفِقُوا مِمَّا جَعَلَكُمْ مُسْتَخْلَفِينَ فِيهِ. Spend to Allah, for Allah, what He has given you. He left some things with you. Allah says, I will not put a burden on you. So when I say, I could be doing a lot of things with my life, and you could think, MashaAllah, that was a good talk. I only slept for 1 hour. But if you're listening to this, you could be impressed with what I do, but I cannot be impressed with what I do because I know I have more what? Potential. There's so much stuff I haven't done that I'm capable of doing, and Allah did not put that on. The burden on me is my potential. That's the second meaning. My load, my responsibility is my potential. Not just the ahkam of Allah, because the ahkam of Allah, wallahi hiya khafifa, yuridu Allahu an yukhaffifa ankum. Allah wants to lighten your burden. The deen of Islam is easy. No. But your potential that will make you go high, that is something else. When an athlete wants to perform at the peak performance, does he have to go through hard training? Yeah. He has to go through torture every day. The amount of exercise, the amount of rigorous training, the nasty food he has to eat. And he can't eat cake, he can't drink soda, he can't do all that stuff because he has to meet his potential. You have to make sacrifices to reach your potential. And Allah told you that on Al-Arsh Al-Azim. No excuses, people. No excuses. Everybody better hit their potential. لَهَا مَا كَسَبَتْ وَعَلَيْهَا مَا اكْتَسَبَتْ. You will have to your advantage whatever you earn. Easily. And earning with Allah is easy. Every time you make efforts, it is easy earning with Allah. وَعَلَيْهَا مَا اكْتَسَبَتْ. And against it, people make so much effort to earn. People make so much effort to, sin is actually difficult. Allah is saying your fitrat Allah, fitrat al-nas, التي فطر الله عليها, فطرة الله التي فطر الله عليها. فَطْرَ النَّاسَ عَلَيْهَا. The nature on which Allah made you is obedience is easy. يَشْرَحْ صَدْرَهُ لِلْإِسْلَامِ. His chest becomes open. He can breathe easy when he obeys Allah. But when he disobeys Allah, his chest becomes tight. الاكتساب فيه تمهل ومدة واجتهاد وإبطاء. Sins, the things we do that hurt us, they actually, Allah is reversing the equation. You know, for a lot of people, they think sins are easy, obedience is difficult. When believers believe, all their definitions change. When you really have Iman, your definitions change. For everybody else, sins are easy, obedience is difficult. But Allah used the easy word with good deeds, and He used the difficult word with sins. لَهَا مَا كَسَبَتْ أَسْهَلْ وَعَلَيْهَا مَا اكْتَسَبَتْ أَصْعَبْ. For you, obedience is easy and disobedience is difficult, if you have Iman. And this will be the gift of Allah to you. For everyone else, disobedience will be easy. For you, Allah will make disobedience difficult. And for everyone else, obedience to Allah will be difficult. And for you, obedience to Allah will be easy. This is لَهَا مَا كَسَبَتْ وَعَلَيْهَا مَا اكْتَسَبَتْ. What an amazing gift from Allah. He reverses the reality for most people, if they just have Iman. Allahumma ja'alna minhum. Rabbana, Ar-Rabb, now we make dua to Allah. La tu'akhidna, please don't grab us, don't hold us. In nasina aw akhta'na, if we forget, or if we keep making mistakes. Is forgetting a small problem or a big problem? For some people, they think it's a small problem. I forgot, no big deal. No big deal. Let me tell you how big nisyan is. وَلَقَدْ عَهِدْنَا إِلَىٰ آدَمَ مِنْ قَبْلِ فَنَسِيَ. Why did Adam alayhi salam get sent to the earth? One of the reasons Allah describes, because he forgot. Forgetfulness can get you out of Jannah, according to the Quran. Forgetfulness is not a small problem, it is a big problem. Now let me tell you about forgetfulness. A couple of comments are necessary about forgetfulness. The best example I can think of is Surah Al-Mujadala. يَوْمَ يَبْعَثُهُمُ اللَّهُ جَمِيعًا فَيُنَبِّئُهُمْ بِمَا عَمِلُوا أَحْصَاهُ اللَّهُ وَنَسُوهُ. The day on which Allah will gather people, He will tell them what they did, Allah will record what they did, but they had forgotten it. You forget something when it's not a big deal. You forget something when it's not a big deal. When something is important, you don't forget. When something is not that important, you forget. I'll call you back. Hey, you never called me back. Oh, I forgot. Okay? But if your wife calls you, you better call her back. If you love your life, you better not forget. If you tell her you forgot, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. It was nice knowing you. Acha, you forgot. You come home, I tell you what forgot. La tu'akhidna in nasina. Don't grab us if we forget. How do people forget? When does a young man forget to pray? When he's watching a movie. He's watching a movie, the curtains are drawn, he's watching, Maghrib came, Maghrib left. Oh my God, I missed Maghrib. I totally forgot. That's when you forget. You forget when you get busy with things that are less important and you leave things that are more important. You have to make an effort in your life to not allow important things to be forgotten. This takes planning and it takes effort. It doesn't happen automatically. We are asking Allah, رَبَّنَا لَا تُؤَاخِذْنَا إِن نَسِينَا أَوْ أَخْطَأْنَا. Notice, استعمال الماضي إن ننسى أو نخطئ لا إن نسينا أو أخطأنا. فما الفرق بين المضارع والماضي في الشرط? When you put a conditional statement, when you use the past tense, if we forgot, if we made a mistake, the benefit of that is that it should happen once. المضارع فيه استمرار والتكرار. الماضي فيه حدوث مرة واحدة فقط. This has happened one time. Ya Allah, if one time I forget, if one time I make a mistake, forgive me. You're not telling Allah, Ya Allah, you know I forget a lot. So, by the way, I make a lot of mistakes. So just forgive. No. Ya Allah, I will do my best never to make a mistake. I will make my best, do my best Never to what? Forget. But will it happen? Yes, it will happen. But it won't happen on purpose. If it was the present tense, it would have allowed for you to forget and make mistakes on purpose. Just the past tense alone is letting you know that this cannot happen on purpose. It's a once in a while thing. Yes, it will happen, but Ya Allah, just don't grab us. By the way, Banu Israel were grabbed. Adam alayhi salam was grabbed because he forgot, yeah? And now we're saying, Ya Allah, give us more rahmah than Adam alayhi salam. Because when Adam alayhi salam was grabbed, think about this. Adam alayhi salam was grabbed. He went from Jannah to where? Earth. So he went from high to what? Low. If we get grabbed, we get low to really low. Because he went from the top floor to the bottom floor. But there's a basement too. Where's the basement? Jahannam. There's Jannah on top, Dunya in the middle, Jahannam at the bottom, yes? Adam alayhi salam, because he forgot, he went from the top floor to what? The middle. If we forget and get grabbed, what's going to happen? Middle to the bottom. We can't afford that one. La tu'akhidna in nasina aw akhtana. We can't afford to fall more than this. He was told, ihbitu minha jami'an. You know, we cannot have more hubut. We can't afford it. So now, Rabbana wa la tahmil alayna isran. I love this word. Ya Allah, don't burden us don't load onto us an isr. An isr. لما لم يقل لا تحمل علينا حملا وزرا isran. Isr is used in the meaning of a burden. But so are so many other words that are used in the Quran. So many words for burden, you know. وَوَضَعْنَا عَنْكَ وِزْرَكَ, you know. So why isr? Isr is actually used for something that is tied up. Something that's packed up. When something is tied up, it is trapped. This ayah has a lot of meanings. I'll give you the easy meaning first. The easy meaning is, Ya Allah, don't put a burden on us like you put on the people before us. كَمَا حَمَلْتَهُ عَلَى الَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِنَا. But there's another meaning. The other meaning is, when people disobey Allah, when people disobey Allah, then sometimes Allah punishes them in this world. You know that, right? When a believing nation disobeys Allah, like Banu Israel were a believing nation, when they disobeyed Allah, Allah gives them different kinds of punishments. You know, disbelieving nations, when they disobey Allah, they are destroyed. Believing nations, when they disobey Allah, Allah gives them different kinds of burdens. Allah gives them what? Different kinds of burdens. One kind of burden, when a believing ummah disobeys Allah, Allah does not punish them with fire from the sky or a flood or an earthquake. How does He punish them? He punishes them by breaking them up into groups that hate each other. One punishment is, He breaks them into groups, and what do the groups do? They hate each other. This is a punishment from Allah for an ummah that disobeys Allah. You wouldn't know anything about that, of course. The second punishment, and if you study Bani Israel, by the way, study Bani Israel in the Quran, you will find how does Allah punish a nation that disobeys Allah. An ummah, a believing ummah with prophets. And so you learn from that what will happen to us. Now let me tell you what happens to us. وَقَالُوا قُلُوبُنَا غُلْفٌ. People believe, people think they already understand the religion. There's nothing more to learn. I already know everything about the Quran. I learned tafsir already. Because to me, you know, إذا قرأت ابن تفسير ابن كثير هذا يعني فهمت القرآن كاملا. أيها الإنسان. This is the book of Allah. No human being can ever fully understand it. This is not a human book. This is a divine book. But you know what happens? People say, I already know what the Quran says. I made up my mind. I made up my mind. And they wrap themselves up. And they become rigid. The ummah becomes rigid. And the book itself has rahmah in it, but since you left the book, the ummah becomes tougher and tougher and tougher. And people that are supposed to be religious, they end up becoming more religious than the Sahaba. They become more strict. They make more things haram. They make more things difficult. They make more things harsh. than even the deen of Allah wants it to be. And this makes the ummah turn away from the deen. Because when one group becomes rigid, then they like to distinguish themselves from the other group. And the other group becomes more rigid because every action has an equal but opposite reaction. So now you got two extreme groups. They both hate each other. And most of you normal people are in the middle. And you say, I want to learn Islam, but the only two options are these crazy and these crazy. So since they're both crazy, you figure, I can't learn Islam. Okay, I can't handle it. We put these burdens on ourselves. I'll give you an example my teacher gave me. My teacher, among them is Dr. Akhiri. We've complicated our religion. We have to bring it back to simple. Ya Allah, don't put a burden on us like you put on the people before us. Did the Jews complicate their religion? They complicated their religion, yes? Allah gave them something beautiful, simple, straightforward. They complicated it. Have the Muslims complicated their religion? رَبَّنَا لَا تَحْمِلْ عَلَيْنَا إِصْرًا كَمَا حَمَلْتَهُ عَلَى الَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِنَا. You understand what I'm saying to you? This is the time, people. This is the time to relieve the burden. وَيَضَعُ عَنْهُمْ إِصْرَهُمْ وَالْأَغْلَالَ الَّتِي كَانَتْ عَلَيْهِمْ. Allah brought the Quran to remove the burdens from them. You know, this ayah is so amazing. You will understand what Isra means because of this ayah. Jews had fiqh books that were endless. And for every mas'ala, every issue, they have 100 opinions. It's crazy. It's literally crazy. So many opinions on every issue. And then on top of that, they believe if the alim passed a fatwa, that is Islam itself. That is what Allah wants. The fatwa of the rabbi is the same as the amr of Allah to them. Muslims would never do that, right? Oh wait. And they had this complicated religion, and then Allah sent them the Quran through Rasulullah. And they said, we can't have this man, we can't accept him because he's ummi, he doesn't even have a PhD. We have these complicated books, and the Quran is what? Simple, straightforward. We can't have that. Allah says He came so He can remove your burdens. You burdened yourself with overcomplication, and the deen came to make things simple. We love overcomplication. As a matter of fact, the more religious you get, the more religion you study, the more complicated you become. And the more complicated you make the lives of the people around you. This book is simple. Ya Allah, don't put this burden on us. The more you study deen, the happier you should be, and the happier people around you should be. If the people around you are not happy, you are not learning Islam. I'm sorry. You're learning something else. You're learning Isr. How many people learn Islam and start fighting at home? Start conflicts at home, arguments at home because of deen. That's not how you learn deen. Deen is supposed to increase love among people, not hate. That's what it's supposed to do. Subhanallah. I'll give you one more comment about that, because a lot of people have fights in their... You don't have to admit if you have one. How many people know of situations where people fight in the family, among friends, because of religion? Oh, ijma' indi ummah. There's ijma' and ikhtilaf. Let me tell you something about that. Allah taught the Quran to the Quraysh, yes? Were the Quraysh good people, most of them? Most of them did not accept. In the beginning, most of them rejected. They became the worst enemies of Islam. How long did Allah keep teaching them? For more than a decade. Did they insult the Prophet ﷺ? Did he still teach them? Did they try to hurt the Prophet ﷺ? He still taught them? Did they kill believers and he still taught them? More ayat came down. Every ayah is a gift from Allah. No gift on earth is more valuable than an ayah given by Allah. And Allah keeps giving these people gift and gift and gift and gift and gift. And this is Quraysh. أعداء رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم فعلمهم ولذلك يقول الرحمن علم القرآن. He's so incredibly loving and merciful that taught the Quran. Anybody else would not have that kind of patience, that kind of love. If Allah is so loving when He teaches the Quran to Quraysh, why don't you teach your family with some more love? Why don't teach your friends with some more love? Allah is patient with Quraysh, man. They even make fun of Rasulullah, and He still just gives them ayat. Allah can teach in different ways. Like, you guys go to school, right? You went to school, your teacher can teach you in different ways. He can teach you, hey, 2 + 2 is 4. I don't understand. Come here, let me tell you. Let me teach you in a way you will never forget. Come here. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2 + 2, you understand? I understand. If you don't want to learn, there are other ways to teach you. Can Allah use other ways to teach them? Does He have the power to use other ways to teach them? Absolutely. But He teaches them with love, with Quran. You and I, somebody doesn't listen to us. I just told you the hadith and you didn't listen. Calm down, homie. Calm down. This is not what our religion is about. This is the isr we've put on our, and when you do that, your young generation will run from Islam. They will run away from Islam because they don't see any love and any mercy. All they see is rules and rules and rules and rules and rules. This is haram, that's haram, that's haram, that's haram. We have depressed our young people. We have made them believe that they are bad people. They are this. Why do the Sahaba say Rasul is always smiling? This word is supposed to be spread with joy. رَبَّنَا وَلَا تُحَمِّلْنَا مَا لَا طَاقَةَ لَنَا بِهِ. Ya Rabb, do not put a burden on top of us. Don't keep loading onto us burdens that we have no power to bear whatsoever. This is the dua. And because it is in the Arsh, there's a narration of Rasul that when this dua was given to Rasul, that Allah, every time He gave him the ayat, He said, قَدْ فَعَلْتْ قَدْ فَعَلْتْ قَدْ فَعَلْتْ. I did it. Ya Allah, don't put a burden on us at all that we have no power to bear. Done. Allah says, done. My believer asked me, it is done. I will never put anything on you you cannot bear. But then somebody comes and asks me and says, Ustad, I lost my child. I lost my child. Why did that happen? What was my fault? My in-laws tell me it's because I'm evil. No, your in-laws are evil. You're not evil. And that happened to you. One thing you should know, what happened to you happened to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He lost children, yes? Now you are feeling what Rasulullah felt. Now you have a closeness to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam that most people will not have because you share a feeling with him. And so the ayat that were given to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam to make him feel better are now the ayat that are being given to you to make you feel better. Inna a'tainaka al-kawthar. Those ayat for Rasulullah, and because you lost your child, these ayat are especially for you. Special gift of Allah to you. And Allah would never have you made you lose your child if He knew you cannot handle it. There are so many women who could not handle it. You are strong enough to handle it, and so He gave you a more difficult test so you can come so much more closer to Him and earn the status, earn that closeness to Allah and earn that closeness to His Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Because the closer you get to Allah, the more sacrifices you have to make. So Allah chose you. You're special. You didn't lose your child because you're punished. And on top of everything else, there are people who live with their children their entire life. Alhamdulillah. May Allah keep our children safe. They live with their children their entire life, but their children grow up to be disobedient to Allah. Their children end up leaving Islam. Their children end up, disappointing the deen. And then they have many, many generations of non-Muslims. And all of that, on Judgment Day, you will not love those children. You love them here, you will not love them there. إِذْ تَبَرَّأَ الَّذِينَ تُبِعُوا مِنَ الَّذِينَ تَبَعُوا وَرَأَوْا الْعَذَابَ وَتَقَطَّعَتْ بِهِمُ الْأَسْبَابُ. All the relationships will be cut. يَفِرُّ الْمَرْءُ مِنْ أَبِيهِ وَأُمِّهِ سبحان وَصَاحِبَتِهِ وَبَنِيهِ. Oh my goodness. You're going to be running from your kids. But that child who died, where did it go?
It went to Jannah. And because of the sabr you showed, you are going to have a reunion with your child. Your reunion is guaranteed if you can just have Iman. Other people, they have to beg for that reunion. Yours is guaranteed. Congratulations. Congratulations. Those children are just waiting for you. They're not gone. They're just waiting for you. What do we do with people? This is the harshness and the ugliness of the Muslim who goes away from Allah's book. Somebody's child died, oh, Allah must be punishing them, they must be cursed. Astaghfirullah al-Azim. Don't ruin people like that. Our messenger would not do that, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. رَبَّنَا وَلَا تُحَمِّلْنَا مَا لَا طَاقَةَ لَنَا بِهِ وَاعْفُ عَنَّا. Pardon us. Ya Allah, lovingly forgive us. وَاغْفِرْ لَنَا, and cover our mistakes. Our mistakes are many, just cover them. وَارْحَمْنَا, and show us love and mercy. What is the order? What is the benefit of this sequence? وَاعْفُ عَنَّا وَاغْفِرْ لَنَا وَارْحَمْنَا. When you make a mistake, if my wife makes a mistake, I am what? Angry. Yeah? If I make a mistake, my wife is angry, my mother is angry, somebody's angry. The first thing is, I don't want you to be angry. That's the first part. I don't want you to be angry. And that is covered in the word afu. Al-afu is actually forgiving someone out of love and letting go of the anger. When you let go of the anger, that is called afu. If you say maghfirah, yeah, that's fine, I won't need 10. If you say maghfirah, you forgave someone, but that does not mean the anger is gone. Okay? You forgave someone, but the anger is not gone. But if you do afu to someone, then you forgave them and the anger is gone. And then after you have lovingly forgiven us, then on top of that cover our mistakes. وَاغْفِرْ لَنَا, and please protect us and show us love and care. وَارْحَمْنَا means two things. Don't let us fall into sin to begin with. Keep us in your protection. Keep us in your rahmah, so we don't make the mistake to begin with. And second of all, once we have made the mistake and you have forgiven us, keep us in your rahmah, which means keep us in Jannah. And then once فَانْصُرْنَا عَلَى الْقَوْمِ الْكَافِرِينَ, then aid us against the disbelieving nation. This is the last 2 points I want to make, but they're probably the most important. When you say, Ya Allah, don't hold us because of if we forget or make a mistake. Ya Allah, forgive us. Ya Allah, show us mercy. Is that about you or is that about someone else? That's about you. When he says, فَانْصُرْنَا عَلَى الْقَوْمِ الْكَافِرِينَ, is that about you or someone else? That's someone else. Aid us against the disbelieving nation. So there seems to be a conflict, yes? Part of the dua was for you, and part of it is so you can get help against the enemy. The question arises, why do you have an enemy? Why do you have an enemy? The Muslims have enemies today, yes or no? Yeah, sure. Did the Muslims have enemies at the time of the Prophet ﷺ? Yes or no? But it's not the same. It is not the same. The Quraysh were enemies to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, even though he was the kindest, softest, and they were enemies to him because he taught the message of the Quran. He taught that all human beings are equal. He taught that children have rights. He taught that women have rights. He taught that parents should be treated with respect. He taught that no tribe is better than no other tribe. He taught that no race is inferior to another race, and this is why he had enemies. Today Muslims have enemies, but we don't have enemies because we say all people are equal. We don't have enemies because we say we have to treat parents better. We don't have enemies because we are the best in character and we say everybody should be fair in business. As a matter of fact, Muslims are not very different from non-Muslims overall in their behavior today. Non-Muslims, if they don't care about their parents, where are Muslims today? If non-Muslims are racist and they think some races are better than others, what about Muslims today? We have that problem or no? If non-Muslims think wealth makes you better, if you have wealth, you are better. If you don't have wealth, you are worse. And Islam came to say your money doesn't mean anything. Inna akramakum indallahi atqakum. That is the only thing that matters. That is the only. يَوْمَ لَا يَنْفَعُ مَالٌ وَلَا بَنُونَ إِلَّا مَنْ أَتَى اللَّهَ بِقَلْبٍ سَلِيمٍ. The only thing that matters is what you have in your heart. Today the Muslims live like that or no? Nope. And you know the proof of that? I don't want to blame governments. I don't want to blame countries. I'll talk about you and me personally. When you want to get your son married, do you look at the race? Do you look at the money? Do you look at these things? Because they have to be good enough for us? Or do you look at the character? Most people say, well, if they have money and they're Punjabi, they must be good. Must have character automatically. The way we seek sons for our daughters, daughters for our sons. We have enemies, but we don't have enemies for the right reasons. We have enemies for the wrong reasons. The ayat of the Quran apply. فَانْصُرْنَا عَلَى الْقَوْمِ الْكَافِرِينَ. When you have made enemies for the right reasons or the wrong reasons? The right reasons. And the right reasons are when you stand up for the integrity, the principles of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. When you make enemies for that reason, then yes, ask. فَانْصُرْنَا عَلَى الْقَوْمِ الْكَافِرِينَ. When you don't do anything the messenger did, and you say فَانْصُرْنَا عَلَى الْقَوْمِ الْكَافِرِينَ, you're making joke of the ayat. You're making fun of the ayat. I even argue when they make fun of the Prophet ﷺ in these cartoons, some of these people are evil. They are evil. And they make fun of it no matter how much they know about Islam. But a lot of people make fun of Islam not because they make fun of the Prophet ﷺ. They don't even know the Prophet ﷺ. All they know is Muslims. And they see Muslims acting crazy, so they assume Islam must be what? Crazy. And that's when they make fun of Islam. It's not because of the Prophet, it's because of Muslims. رَبَّنَا لَا تَجْعَلْنَا فِتْنَةً لِلَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا. Don't turn us into a fitna for those who disbelieved. SubhanAllah. This ummah has a long way to go. Here's my last comment to you, and probably what I think the most beautiful thing, guys. I hope you appreciate it, because I am blown away by this. The journey of humanity began with one man, Adam alayhi salam. The journey of humanity will end with one ummah, the ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. The journey of the first man started in Jannah. The journey of this ummah will end in Jannah, yes? And we ask Allah that He gives all of us Jannah and our children and their children and their children. وَالْمُسْلِمُونَ جَمِيعًا. Okay. When that journey began, he was where? Jannah. Where is Jannah? If you read Surah Al-Najm, وَلَقَدْ رَآهُ نَزْلَةً أُخْرَى عِنْدَ سِدْرَةِ الْمُنْتَهَى عِنْدَهَا جَنَّةُ الْمَأْوَى. I used to wonder, why did Allah mention Jannah there? He says he saw Allah, or he went to, he went to meet with Allah Azza wa Jal, and he saw him, another descent, he saw Jibreel alayhi salam, another descent, right under Sidrat al-Muntaha, the low tree. And right under that is what? Right by that is Jannah. So Jannah is right under the arsh of Allah. It's right there. That's where Jannah is. Got it? Now, Adam alayhi salam was right there, wasn't he? And then Allah sent him where? Sent him down. And when He sent him down, what did He say to him? He says, فَإِمَّا يَأْتِيَنَّكُم مِّنِّي هُدًى فَمَن تَبِعَ هُدَايَ فَلَا خَوْفٌ عَلَيْهِمْ وَلَا هُمْ يَحْزَنُونَ. If and when guidance comes to any of you, انظر إلى الضمير كم لا إما يأتينك إما يأتينكم يعني أنت وذريتك إما يأتينكم, you and your children. If guidance comes to you from me, and whoever follows it will have no fear, no grief. As he was coming down, he was told, look out for revelation, yes? So the journey of revelation began. When did the journey of revelation end? With Rasulullah. When the journey of revelation began, a human being was coming down from right under the arsh, and he was told, look out for guidance. And when the journey of revelation ended, With Quran, a human being went up to the arsh to receive the last ayat of Baqarah. The first instance, the first talk of revelation happened right under that arsh, and the last book also has ayat that are right under that arsh. Just where the journey of human beings began. Right there again. SubhanAllah. So Adam alayhi salam, the beginning, and Rasulullah, and these ayat are like the end. And Adam alayhi salam is the beginning of Baqarah, and this ayah is at the end of Baqarah. How do you do that? How does he do that? Every time I'm reading Quran sometimes, I'm studying Quran, sometimes I come across something, and I just go, Allah, how did you do that? That was awesome. I can't think anymore. I think I'm going to play some video games, because this is too much to handle. This ummah is the last chapter of human history. This is it. The Quran has come. No other revelation is coming. Now all of humanity has to see what it means. Why did Allah send people on the earth? So they can follow guidance, yes? And the last of Hudan has come, which means we, living in the last chapter of humanity, every single person who believes in Allah and His messengers, every single person here who believes in the final revelation, the Quran, we have to make sure that we give this message to as many human beings on this earth as possible. This is our responsibility. We have now been given the same responsibility as Rasulullah himself, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. How do we know that? How do we know we have the same responsibility as Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in the beginning, آمَنَ الرَّسُولُ بِمَا أُنزِلَ إِلَيْهِ مِنْ رَبِّهِ وَالْمُؤْمِنُونَ فالتكليف للرسول والتكليف لنا ولذلك لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها. The burden is all of ours. The burden is all of ours. We have to show the character of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We have to revive the integrity of Islam. People, they think of Muslims, you're living in a Muslim country so you don't feel this as much. I live in America, I can tell you. I travel to Europe and other places, I can tell you. People think of Muslims as backwards. People think of Muslims as dishonest. People think of Muslims as corrupt. People think of Muslims as violent and uncivil. This is how they think of us. And we say to them, no. We are not violent. We are the greatest ummah. We are the best people. We are extremely disciplined. Look at our salah. Look at how we line up in salah. We are so great. Look at the parking lot. Before you look at the salah, look at the parking lot outside. Look at how you drive. Look at how you behave outside with each other. Look at that first. Are we an example for the world to follow? We have to be the example for the world to follow in everything. In everything. In business, in education, in research, in scientific breakthroughs, in religious studies, in morality, in a balanced lifestyle. Everybody in the world should look at a Muslim and say, I want to be like that. I want to be like that. I am impressed. Who are these people? They should be able to say As-Sadiq wal-Ameen before they even know we're Muslim. Is that important? Before they even know he's calling for Islam, what do they already know? As-Sadiq al-Ameen. Do the people think of us as As-Sadiq and al-Ameen? No. Until that happens, we are not fulfilling our responsibility. لا تحمل علينا إصرا كما حملته على الذين من قبلنا. Allah has put the biggest burden on this ummah. No bigger burden has ever been placed on an ummah. And that burden is to show us, billions of Muslims together, have to show what the character of Rasulullah looked like, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So the world can see إِنَّكَ لَعَلَى خُلُقٍ عَظِيمٍ لِأَنَّ الْعَالَمْ لَا يَرَى الرَّسُولِ بَلْ يَرَى أَتْبَاعَ الرَّسُولِ. The world does not see the Prophet. The world sees us, ambassadors of the Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We have to show it. We better raise our standards. I pray that Allah Azza wa Jal fulfills this dua for all of us. That is this remarkable dua and this honor that Allah has given us in such a high place. I pray that Allah gives you and me, our family, our children, the ability to live up to this gift, this honor, this responsibility. And I pray that Allah blesses the people of this country and gives them love for each other and gives them the ability to be a model for the rest of the ummah to follow. Barakallahu li wa lakum. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.